They didn't ask for his name. They didn't ask for his registration. They didn't even ask why he was there. They just reached for their weapons. On a quiet, suburban street, David Jones was staring down the barrel of a routine stop that was seconds away from becoming a tragedy. The officers thought they had a suspect. What they actually had was a problem, because the man in the crisp white dress shirt wasn't just another driver. He was a civil rights attorney who had argued cases in the very courthouse these officers served. And when he finally reached into his pocket, everything changed. 10:26 p.m. The dashcam flickers to life. The red and blue lights paint the interior of David's car in a rhythmic, violent pulse. David pulled over perfectly. No sudden movements. No resistance. He was 40 years old, a father, and a man who knew the high cost of a misunderstanding. The lead officer approached, hand on the holster, thumb flicking the safety strap. The second officer hung back, angled, tactical. Turn the engine off, the officer barked. David complied, hands on the wheel. Now, David didn't flinch. He asked the one question every citizen has the right to ask. What is the reason for the stop, officer? The silence that followed was heavy. Then, the officer's voice dropped an octave. Is there anything in this vehicle we should be worried about? David knew that question. It's the trap question. No, David said calmly. I'm an attorney. I'm heading home. It didn't work. In fact, it made them angry. Step out of the vehicle. The cold night air hit David's face. He could see the silhouettes of neighbors watching from behind curtains. He felt the weight of the moment, the black professional's burden, the knowledge that a law degree doesn't stop a bullet. Do not reach for anything, the officer hissed. If you do, this ends badly for you. David moved with agonizing slowness. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a leather wallet. He didn't show his license. He showed his bar card, his court ID. I am a licensed attorney, David said, his voice echoing in the empty street. Now, state your legal basis for this detention. The officer's hand left the gun. His shoulders dropped. The aggression evaporated, replaced by a stutter. There's been a misunderstanding, the officer muttered. No apology. No sorry for the death threat. Just, you're free to go, sir. David drove home, but his hands wouldn't stop shaking. Not from fear, from fury. The next morning, he pulled the dashcam footage. But when the file opened, David realized he wasn't just fighting two cops. He was fighting a system. The Internal Affairs report came back in record time. Officers acted within policy. Case closed. But they forgot one thing. David was a hunter of evidence. 3 months later, an anonymous USB drive arrived at his office. No note, no return address, just a raw video file. It was the same officers, the same street, a different night. This time, the victim wasn't a lawyer. It was a college student. And this time, the audio was crystal clear. So help me God, the officer's voice boomed on the recording. If you move, I'll make sure you never walk again. David had them. He had the pattern. He had the proof. David went public. He expected a reckoning. Instead, he got a warning. Meetings were canceled. Phone lines went dead. A colleague pulled him aside in the hallway and whispered, David, you're poking something bigger than a precinct. Let it go. Then came the break-in. His office was tossed. Nothing was stolen, except the sense of safety. Files were left open on his desk. A message sent without a single word, we can get to you. Today, those officers are still on the street. The footage? Deemed inconclusive by a board that refused to look. David Jones survived that night because he had a piece of plastic that said he belonged in a courtroom. What happens to the man who doesn't have the card? What happens to the kid who doesn't know the law? Because that night, the law wasn't upheld. It was unmasked.